Okay, for this first video, we're going to go through how to create an actual assessment or quiz or test, whatever you may want to call it. I've already logged into my Moodle account. I've already created or went to the course that I want to add the quiz onto. So what I'm going to do is just create the assessment. Then the next video will be how to randomize the questions, how to, add the questions. So the first thing to do is, as you see right now, we are in the what we'll call the read view, the reading view of the class itself, where we aren't able to move the content around, or we aren't even able to rename. So how we get into the edit mode is at the top. Uh, it should look similar, if not the same. But at the top, there will be these three buttons. Just look for the one when you hover above it, it should say turn edit on. And this will allow you to edit the content that is on the portal or on that specific um, course content, page, to be more precise. All right, so here then you are able to move the modules around or to move the content around to rename it if you want to, but I'm not going to do any of that. What I'm going to do is add the assessment. So you will look for the specific module or the specific chapter or the specific, however you divide your content in the course, you will look for that specific part where you want to add the quiz, assignment, assessment, however you call it. And then for now, let's go to electric current and you'll click on add an activity or resource. Now, what you will see when I add an activity or resource is that I see all the kind of things that we can add. Now, the reason I see everything is because I'm full admin or what we'll call super admin, so I can see everything. But permissions differ, so some permissions will allow you to add some content and not others. In our case, it's fine, we'll continue in this manner. You may see quiz as part of your activities that you can add. So just click on quiz. Quiz is similar to test, or we'll use it for assignment purposes. Then we'll just rename it to T1, oh, sorry, T1 or task 1. Maybe I can type it in full. The description, this is the assignment for task 1, internal assessment. All right. Now, I'm going to display it on the course page where so that when before the student even clicks on it, they know what it's about. I can even add it will be dealing with the following content, where I can add specific content that the student will need to engage with before they take the assignment. Um, current flow, because I'm using basic electrical and mechanical engineering principles. So this is just your content might differ. You don't even need to add the description if you don't want to, but I just like to add it. Atom composition. All right, let's leave it at that. All right, timing is how long. Let me start with open close quiz first. These are when the assignment or assessment or quiz or test will be available to the student, meaning today is the 18th of August. So if we want it to be available from, for example, from next week Monday all the way to next week Friday, we will say, all right, next week Monday is the 21st, and it will close on the, I'm guessing, the 26th, right? Now, what is important to note is that this is just when it will be available for the students to take. It's not when the student opens it on a Monday, they will have the whole week to complete it. It means as soon as they start, the test, assignment, quiz, whatever, will start timing them, and then when their time is up, it will close. So that brings me to the time limit, how long the student has to take this assignment or test. So normally we'll use minutes. In my case, I'll just say 2 minutes. Yeah, but of course you will determine how long the student actually needs to complete the assignment or to complete. From here on, I'm just going to call it assessment, to complete the assessment. So when the time expires, meaning when these 2 minutes are complete, what happens to the current assessment that they are taking, or to the current attempt that they are taking? You have the option of saying open attempts are submitted automatically, meaning if they've answered some questions but haven't completely submitted, it is automatically submitted. There's a grace period when open attempts can be submitted but no more questions can be answered, meaning if there are 5 questions in the assessment and they answered 4 questions and they're busy with the fifth one, it won't close the assessment. It will allow them to complete that question that they are busy with, and then automatically upload. The last one is we'll call it the hammer one, where attempts must be submitted before time expires or they are not counted. Meaning, if there are 5 questions and they answered 4 of them and they haven't clicked on submit, finish all and submit, then none of those questions are marked or even considered. They are considered to have failed the assignment, essentially. Grade, we'll leave grade. Question behavior, this one is nice to say. This will allow the assignment or assessment to shuffle the questions. Here, okay, let's not deal with some of these things. Extra restrictions, this one allows you to set the password on the assessment, meaning if you want it to be done in class, for example, but this doesn't restrict people from sharing it with each other over social media. But if you want it to be done in class, then you can set a specific password for this assessment, where when the students are sitting in the class, then you give them the password. Restrict assessment, here you can restrict who can view or take the assessment. So there are different kind of restrictions. Activity completion is where the previous activities, meaning the content that is within the course, has to be completed before they take the assessment. It's not really important in some cases. The date, it says when it's similar to how we started when we were setting the time and the open time of the assessment. So you can say here when the actual assessment will be open. Grade group, grade is on the previous assessments that they have taken. What grade should they have gotten for this assessment to be open? This one is generally used for, we'll call it the brighter kids, or the students who need more of a challenge, where you would say, if I set for example a class test, and there are students that get between 90 and 100% for that class test, then you can set the grade for this one to say, in the previous test, if they got 90 or above, then you open this one and give them more challenging questions. User profile, this is to open the test or the assessment to specific students, but I'm not going to set out any restrictions in this case because it's not important. Activity completion, I like to set this one to show activity as complete when conditions are met, so that it automatically um, sets the activity as complete, so that when you are monitoring, then you can see which students have completed the assessment and which haven't. Because if you leave it at the default, then the student can mark it as complete without even have opened the assessment itself. So here you can actually set this one to require grade, meaning the student must have received a mark for the assessment to mark it as complete. The rest of the things are not important. Then we can click on save and display. Okay, and basically that's how you create an assessment, whether it is a class test, whether it is a formal test, whether it's an assignment or just a um, exercise for them to complete. All right. In the next video, I'll be talking about how to add the questions to the actual assessment.